Hi everybody, this is Reena with Holly and Monica, and our this country presentation is about Japan. Let's talk about the location of Japan. Japan is located on the continent of Asia. The neighboring countries of North Korea, South Korea, Russia, and China are located west of Japan. There is one small map you can see on the left hand side of the page. Japan is surrounded by water, and the landmass you can see of China, and one side is Sea of Japan and the other side is Pacific Ocean. The island of Japan lies east of Sea of Japan, and the East Sea China Sea is situated to its south and the Philippine Sea to its southeast. Japan has 6,852 islands and lies in the Pacific Ring of Fire. It has 108 active volcanoes and is highly prone to volcanoes, tsunamis, and earthquakes. Let's talk about brief history of Japan. Japan early history is lost in legend. From 660 BC to 1945, Japan history is full of many divine empires. In the first centuries of the Christian era, the country was inhabited by numerous clans or tribal kingdom ruled by priest chiefs. Japan started a full scale of invasion of China in 1937. Unable to neutralize US opposition to its action in Southeast Asia, Japan opened hostilities against the United States and Great Britain on December 7, 1941, by striking at Pearl Harbor, Singapore, and other Pacific possessions. Japan finally surrendered to the United States aboard the USS Missouri in Tokyo Harbor on September 2, 1945. In this slide, we are talking about main languages of Japan. Ethnically, culturally, and linguistically, Japan is a very homogeneous nation. 99% of population speaks Japanese as their first language. The history of the Japanese language is generally included in the Atlantic linguistic group. Japanese had no written form until the 4th century, when the Chinese writing system and literature were introduced in Japan. Chinese characters were used to write Japanese at first, and by the 9th century, two syllabaries known collectively as kana were developed from them. There are still about 2,000 Chinese characters as well as thousands of Western loan words, largely from English, in the basic vocabulary of Japanese today. In this slide, we are going to talk about culture of language in Japan. Japan developed a very distinct society due to the 250 years of isolation. The people of Japan are packed together in large numbers in big cities. The Japanese developed complex web society, and that's because of its geographical isolated location. Japan is a high context communication culture, which means low context is more about speaking and high context is more about listening and interpreting. In business, the Japanese collaborate together to build partnerships, increase productivity, and deliver the service or commodity. Now we are going to talk about regional difference of the language. Each region has its own customs, traditional cultural events, and festivals. Main regional identity is preserved through dance and food, which they market to attract tourists. The Takushima Owa Odari is a huge city-wide dance party in Takushima City, Shikoku Island, that attracts 1.3 million tourists each year. Participants wear colorful costumes and they dance and play shamishans, gongs, taiko, drums, and flutes, which are Japanese instruments. On this slide, you can see that there is one picture of a festival of Japan. It's called Otai Matsu, which is very famous festival of Japan. Okay, here is some cultural norms with languages and communication. Member of the group, not an individual, they protect the weak. Japanese are quick to apologize if they have a cold. If they took you to a poor film, they will apologize for that too. When speaking to each other, such as family, don't talk down about someone's family member in a negative, and always watch your choice of words and be polite and respectful when you are talking to them. The Japanese alphabet. The major difference between hiragana and katakana is the fact that hiragana is primarily used to represent Japanese words, while katakana represents foreign words. Japanese is a language with many borrowed words, and katakana immediately alerts the reader to the fact that the word is an imported one. You can see two pictures of alphabets. There is one of hiragana and the one of katakana. How to say phrases in Japanese? It's interesting. Hello, konnichiwa, goodbye, sayonara, please, onegai shimasu. Thank you, arigato. Nice to meet you. Ai dekite ureshi deshu. Do you speak English? I eigo o hanase masuke. Yes, hi. No, lie. Excuse me. Sumimasen. I'm sorry. Gomenasai. I understand you. Wakarimasu. How are you? O genki desu ka? Help. Tasukete. Welcome. Yokoso. Here are major language, verbal and non-verbal in Japan. No direct eye contact. When you talk to someone, lower your eyes. That's a sign of respect. Too much smiling and laughter can be confusing. Although it represents pleasure in West, too much smiling and laughter may convey embarrassment, confusion, shock, or feeling of being upset in Japan. Men do not engage in backslapping or other form of touching. Repelled behavior is any sort should be avoided. Also avoid the OK sign. Half-state value system. In this we see that indulgence is little over than 40%, around 41%. Japanese do not emphasize personal desires and things. Long-term orientation. In this, Japanese believe you do your best with the time you have. And masculinity drive by competition. Individualism in Japanese society is harmony of the group and have a strong sense of shame. In power distance, individuals are not equal and they have power distance of superior and inferior or boss and worker. Assumptions and perspective. Are Japanese unable to learn foreign languages? There is a deep-seated myth that Japanese people are not good at learning foreign languages. The proportion of Japanese who can speak a certain amount of French and read it with the use of a dictionary is far higher than the proportion of French people who can do likewise in Japanese. The same kind of comparison with the USA or UK should also show that the English proficiency of Japanese people is much greater than the Japanese proficiency of English speakers. Americans assume the existence of an individual identity, which is necessary for the self reliance of individualism to exist. Most Japanese, on the other hand, assume the existence of a kind of collective consciousness, we Japanese, which is necessary for interrelationships of collectivism to occur. Japanese people typically assign goodness to being interdependent in groups, even if they often act individually, while US Americans typically assign goodness to being independently self reliant, even if they often act interdependently. How difficult would it be for a person who speaks only English to travel or work in Japan? English is actually widely understood by Japanese, but many people will be uncomfortable or too shy to use it. It's best not to approach people with the assumption that they will be able to speak it. Tipping is not a custom in Japan. So, leaving a little extra cash on the table or at a restaurant will often result in a waiter chasing you down the street to give it back to you. A foreign visitor would not want to give the impression of disrespect by leaving cash tip. Also, when you are traveling in train or buses, do not speak on your mobile phone. Some important aspects of the Japanese language in Japan. Hello Kitty is worth $7 million to the Japan pop culture. Hello Kitty, she feels like you do with an emotional blank state. Hello Kitty is so important to the Japanese that public passenger plane and everything on the plane, including the food, is centered around the global icon. Hello Kitty been chosen to be a Japanese diplomatic envoy, the official tourism ambassador to China and Hong Kong in 2008. This is the picture of inside Hello Kitty airplane. Everything, the seats, all you see is has a theme of Hello Kitty, and the food, even napkins, everything is decorated in theme of Hello Kitty. Outside the plane, there is a design of a cat and some other stuff which also represents Hello Kitty theme. And in the end, I hope you enjoyed the presentation with Rina, Hali, and Monica. Thank you so much.